just enjoy this glass of water. I'm stuffed.
Hey, man. Welcome back, guys. Hey, I hope you're not too overstuffed or too full on that water, because that feels like that's all we can do anymore is drink water, right? Because it's the only thing that's even free, and even that anymore, they charge, some places charge for water. Let's get into it.
Tonight, food is taking a bigger bite out of shoppers' incomes, the most in 3 decades, and be prepared to shell out more.
You'll never guess what we're doing to the Baconator.
Wendy's announced it'll start testing dynamic pricing on digital menu boards next year, a form of surge pricing like Uber and Lyft. Artificial intelligence will suggest menu items and determine whether to raise prices based on demand, location, and time. Wendy's says, for example, it might suggest a cool Frosty on a warm summer day. This will allow us to be more nimble and flexible with pricing.
Why introduce this when customers can easily just go somewhere else?
Clearly, the company is trying to find ways to boost its share price and improve its profit margins, but it could come at the expense of losing some faithful customers.
Cereal!
Yeah! Beyond the burgers, Kellogg is also under fire after its CEO suggested consumers struggling with inflation could eat cereal for dinner.
If you think about the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do, that's going to be much more affordable.
Backlash online was swift.
This fool making $4 million a year. You think he's feeding his kids cereal for dinner?
It's a tough sell because cereal prices have surged more than 25% compared to pre-pandemic.
Well, it rings a little bit like the French Revolution, let them eat cereal. And it does sort of not read the room very well. Families are really struggling to afford bringing food to the table to feed everyone at the table. And now they're suggesting cereal for dinner. It just seems like he's missing the point here.
What you pay for groceries continues to rise. The financial firm Moody's Analytics.
Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about that. Do you like AI adjusting prices on the fly, up and down depending on the temperature of the weather, or the day, or how busy they are, the time, night, morning, noon, afternoon, lunch rush? Let me know. Do you like that? Do you like the fact that is something that Wendy's doing? And I've even seen some grocery stores doing this now. Let me know in the comments how you think about that.
Burger King sales plummet as regular Americans can no longer afford to hit the drive-thru on their way through for breakfast and their way home from work. Now, all 3 of these companies have seen their sales plummet in the last year and have really bad record quarters. So what's happening? Well, let me tell you a secret. Not everybody in this space is failing like these 3 companies, because the lines at In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A are often wrapped around the block. So what's so different with companies that are in the same space? Well, first of all, McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's have all tripled their prices since 2005, especially McDonald's, which is the highest. And you're talking about the most base level of food quality that you can imagine. They still freeze their products and ship it. Even like take In-N-Out, nothing is ever frozen. It's all refrigerated, locally sourced, brought right there, not full of preservatives, and it's still much cheaper than all the other 3. So how does that happen? My guess is that you've jacked the prices up way too high to be profitable as possible, where In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A are still willing to be a little bit more reasonable on this front.
Chipotle, why is it $23.92 for one burrito? Make that make sense. And if you're thinking, oh, well, you probably got like a specialty burrito. I got one burrito extra meat. And I'm thinking like $23 for a burrito with extra meat. The amount of meat it probably should have had, but you guys give us so little of meat that we have to ask for an extra serving. I looked at my receipt, $7 for an extra serving of meat in your burrito. That's insane. You guys are so freaking corrupt. That's wild. $25 for a burrito. That's Nashville in the back. But come on. I remember a couple years ago, you guys were like, we take so much pride in feeding our clients the best food, and it's organic, and where we get our chicken from. It's like, yeah, but you're charging us $7 for 3 ounces of meat. $25 for the burrito. You don't care about anybody. I'm now homeless because I bought this burrito.
Fast food places have completely lost their mind. Many of them are now more expensive than sit-down restaurants.
Don't believe me? Look at the prices if you go through McDonald's, if you go through Chipotle, Burger King, Wendy's. Now, look at the prices for the people that have fixed this. Look at Chili's prices. At Chili's right now, you can go to Chili's and get a big burger or a big chicken sandwich with fries and a drink for $9.99. That's their lunch special for people that want to come in and grab lunch from Chili's. Red Lobster changed when Debola came in and completely switched everything for them. Now they have happy hours. They have $5 margaritas. They have seafood boils. All of these sit-down places that were in trouble because their business wasn't going good. They were looking at bankruptcy. They were like, oh crap, there's a huge market for all these places now where fast food has gone for where it started at COVID to 3 times as much now. The other day, I paid $52.64 for 2 bowls and 2 drinks at Chipotle. Receipt is on my story. Look at the prices at these places. It's absolutely nuts. And I know I'll get comments on this video. People will be like, oh, you shouldn't be eating fast food anyway. I totally get it. You're right, actually. But what happens is every once in a while you want to go out with friends. You want to go out and grab a little drink after work. You want to go out and have a meal at lunch. You know, you meal prepped and your meal prep went bad by the end of the week. So you're going to grab something from Chili's now. Because now it's at a point where McDonald's or Chipotle is twice as much as Chili's. Think about how crazy that is, guys. Chili's, that was a sit-down restaurant where you could go and with your family, just like TGI Fridays, Applebee's, any of these places, right? It's now half the price of McDonald's or Chipotle. So I predict that McDonald's, Chipotle, Starbucks, all of them are eventually going to have to fix their pricing because it's gotten so insane that normal people are going to stop going because there's way cheaper options now because some companies have actually started to get it, that they've completely priced themselves out. And fast food places, you guys have the lowest quality of food in the United States that people can buy, full of preservatives, chemicals, everything else. And like I can go to In-N-Out right now for half the price that I can go to McDonald's. That's nuts because the food's way better at In-N-Out. So a lot of these places are going to keep crashing. Chipotle stock as of today is down 15%. Last week, they were on the TV saying, oh, it's because Gen Z doesn't eat out. We eat out. We're not eating out at your place anymore because you're too expensive for the quality of food that you put out.
Well, I got a bone to pick with Subway, okay? I only wanted something small, okay? Nothing big. So I tried a wrap. Never tried a wrap before. Just my little 6-inch wrap, okay? Turkey. The only thing extra that I ordered was double turkey, okay? Double turkey, that's it, all right? 1 turkey wrap with extra turkey. After my subtotal and tax, $18.91. $18.91 for this?
We have to talk about these McDonald's prices. I went to McDonald's today just to get some lunch. No intention to film a video. I got a double cheeseburger. I like it without ketchup. I think it's one of the best things on the menu at McDonald's. But the price caught me so off guard. This thing right here is $4.19. And I remember probably in high school, one of these was like $1, I think, before the McDouble was even invented. And I'm in Colorado. I don't know if that's why. I don't know if it's more expensive out here. But this thing right here for $4.19 is crazy. And don't get me wrong, I love these things. I get them all the time. I've been eating them for years. But $4.19 is too much. Now, to be fair, it is buy one, get one for $1. So $5.19 for 2 of these, which is still crazy. I don't know how McDonald's went from being the best value in food, not even just fast food, to now you can get 2 of these for essentially the price of like a Little Caesars pizza. You can feed a whole family, or you can get 2 double cheeseburgers.
So I'm at Five Guys, and I just spent $52, and I would like to know why my cheeseburger, it's a little cheeseburger, is $8.69, almost $9. 2 fries was $9.98. My son's cheeseburger was $11.39. 2 milkshakes were $6.19. I got a large drink because I thought they still had raspberry Coke, and they don't. That was, I don't know, $3.89, $39. And then it asked you to give a tip, so I feel obligated, so I gave $4. So I'm just wondering why the food here is so pricey. If someone could let me know, I would appreciate it, because I don't ever remember spending $50, and my daughter didn't even get a burger. I just got 2 burgers, 2 fries, 2 milkshakes, and this. All she's having is milkshake. Why it's so much? Thank you.
I've cut back on eating out a lot because for whatever reason, that price is astronomical. You can't go out to lunch without dropping at least $40, and dinner for me and my girlfriend is usually around $100. I'm not telling you not to treat yourself. I'm not telling you not to enjoy the little things in life. Whether you're cooking meals at home or meal prepping for lunch for the week, every dollar saved for a rainy day is a good day. And quite literally, it feels like rainy days are happening every day. Even with my 9 to 5 that's stable, I get paid well, and I'm also frugal, it still feels like it isn't enough.
This dude posted this picture of his Five Guys meal, and he asked the question, how much do y'all think this costs? And this chick up here said, well, if it's through DoorDash, you better off buying a Tesla. And that's so true, bro. Like, Five Guys is so expensive. Like, just a burger and a fries and a drink is so expensive. Now, if you get the burger and fries and a drink through DoorDash, like, that's way more expensive. That's like double. And then if the DoorDash driver or the Uber driver wants a tip, forget about it. Like, that's like paying your rent for a burger and fries. That's why I had to stop eating at McDonald's, because they're so expensive, and the food at McDonald's is not good enough for them to charge what they charge. Y'all remember when a McChicken was $1? $1? Guess how much a McChicken is now? It's $5. I'm not joking. It's $5 literal dollars. And of course, the portions of the fries and the burger are smaller now. So you're paying more for less food.
Is it just me? Or is eating out in any type of restaurant, sit down, fast food, whatever it is, are you noticing a quality issue? I can't do it. I can't go out anymore and eat at a restaurant. The food is so gross. And on top of that, it's extraordinarily expensive. Like, you can't go to a sit-down restaurant, a decent, like, pub, grill, whatever, get a cheeseburger for under $18 where I live. And that's in Michigan. Those are California prices when we used to live in California. So as a family, we literally barely ever eat out, because every time I'm disappointed and I'm like, I could have cooked so much better at home. But my whole point to this is something has changed. Something has shifted. The food is disgusting, and I think they're killing us.
I was a restaurant owner. I had 3 different restaurants. So I know a thing or two about owning and operating a restaurant. I had a pizzeria. And the food costs, especially in 07, 08, hit us pretty hard. So from an owner's perspective, when the price of food increased, it really, it's hard to keep the prices low when everything on your end is going up with fuel cost and cheese cost, which is some of your most expensive costs. All in meat and everything else just rises. You have to somehow try to keep everything, and then you got employee costs, insurance costs, payroll taxes. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So if I see two sides to this. The big chain stores play a volume game, right? They can lower their prices because they make it up in volume, where the smaller mom and pops really struggle because they don't have that kind of volume or that size, and they can't have that kind of purchasing power. So they got to kind of have creative ways of cutting costs and other cost measures to, try to circumvent or get around the increased price in food, especially at a razor thin margin. And a lot of your food places, are 30%, 31, 32, 33% for foods, set down restaurant, their profit margins. Pizza is supposed to be a little bit higher, typically, depending on if it's a specialty, store or just a chain store or whatever. But you have to really watch those operational margins. Like I said, I've been an owner. I've worked in restaurants my whole life. Well, no, I wouldn't say my whole life, but a good part of my life. And one of my first jobs starting out was in a mom and pop restaurant, starting out in the kitchen. But I spent a good time in restaurants and kitchens, and I've done every type of job from dishes to busboy to cook, all the way up to owning and operating my own. So, trust me, it's not lost on me the difficulties that are operating and running a food, especially a food business. It's food safety, health safety, getting orders right. I mean, product that it's a very perishable product or perishable. You got to throw it away. You can only keep it like up to 7 days depending on what it is. You got to label everything. You got to mark everything. You got all these different obligations you got to make. There's a ton of things, and I'm just touching on the bare basics of what it is to operate a food business. It is very challenging. They always say in the restaurant business, food business, you make your money when you sell. You build yourself a job, you create a job for other people, you create a job for yourself. A lot of times for the first 3 years of my business, I didn't take a paycheck. First 3 years, I didn't pay myself nothing at all. It all went right back in the business. I paid everybody else, and to make sure the business was sustainable, sustain itself, and be functionable, right? So you put in 7 days a week. The owner usually is the owner operator is, the hours you put in restaurant is a very hard, thankless job. So a lot of the people that work at these restaurants are kind of, they kind of get jaded a little bit, because of all the people they have to deal with and all the customers that are kind of angry or ornery, and they're just very, they're not always the best. Let's just put it that way. But it's a very tough job. It really truly is. So I see both sides, and I also see the consumer side because I'm a consumer as well. I understand, when I go out to a restaurant, which is very rare. I'm a health nut, so I don't really eat. I had to do some research on this because I don't really eat a lot of fast food. I do sometimes, but very rarely. I'm more of a health nut, so I kind of stay away from that stuff. But I'll like McDonald's and stuff. I haven't been to these places in decades, but I understand people go there because it affects the lower income people a lot worse because that's where they go to get food. That's where they go to feed their family. I mean, it's unfortunate because the food isn't really that healthy, but it was always cheap, right? It's not the greatest food in the world. It's just not. It never really was. But for the price, you're not going to die. You're going it's going to, you're not going to starve, okay? So I see both sides, right? I really do. But lately, and especially in 2025, the prices have gotten really ridiculous. They've really gotten they've gone up, 30, 40%, 50%. Actually the McDonald's menu I read went up almost 100%. I think Chick-fil-A went up, I think it was like 80%. I'll put a chart up if I can find it. But some of these menus have gone up crazy, and I heard that the McDonald's don't even have $1.
The fast food market is tanking, and I'll tell you exactly why on this Fast Food Minute. 2023 and 2024 were really tough years for restaurants with soaring costs, weakening profits, bankruptcy filings, and then falling sales. Many industry executives thought things would be better this year. The economy is on firm footing, the election was over, and most importantly, a run of generationally high inflation was easing without the recession many economists expected. But those sales results did not appear, at least for fast food chains. The weather was bad in January and February, which tends to keep people at home, and then tariff talk by the Trump administration led to a steep decline in consumer confidence. And so instead of the better year many executives thought, fast food restaurants were playing the same game they've played for the past couple of years, fighting to get customers in the door. In the second quarter, several chains reported surprisingly weak same-store sales. Jack in the Box reported its worst sales result in 15 years. Starbucks continues to lose customers. KFC and Pizza Hut are both down 5%. Numbers were so bad at Sweet Green and Krispy Kreme that they laid off 10 and 15% of their headquarters staff, respectively. Even chains seemingly doing fine are reporting that things are bad. McDonald's reported its best sales result in a couple of years, but peel that back, and the company did really well early last quarter when it was selling Minecraft stuff. But once that promotion ended, it returned to its weak sales and traffic results that it's been dealing with the past couple of years. All of this is coming in a backdrop of one of the most extensive discount wars the industry has seen in years. Now, the same can't be said for casual dining chains. Chili's have been reporting ridiculous results, and lately it's been joined by chains like Applebee's, Red Robin, BJ's, and Olive Garden. Casual dining has been outperforming fast food restaurants all year for the first time in decades, at least outside the pandemic. And this is really unusual. When consumers cut back on dining, they typically gravitate towards fast food because fast food has a reputation for low prices, and that isn't happening this time. Now, there may be some things going on, such as weight loss drugs or the Maha movement, but a lot of this is rooted in what fast food restaurants are and who visits them. Low-income diners have long been a core customer of fast food chains, but those consumers' buying power has been hit hard by inflation. Prices are up everywhere, and that eats into the buying power of those consumers, and restaurant visits are relatively easy to cut back on. But a lot of this still goes back to fast food prices. To many consumers, prices have grown just too much, particularly for bundled meals that are frequently well over $10, which is a psychological barrier for many consumers. In short, the fast food market has lost a value customer, and even after marketing its value offers, they have not come back, and that has hammered the market for fast food chains in the U.S.
Just in case you don't think we've lost our minds, this cup of soup at Panera was $9.50. It makes me think about my dad growing up. My dad was like a huge penny pincher when we talked about food. If I called him up and told him that this soup was $10 and I wanted it as a kid, he would have told me I lost my damn mind. He was like, go home, your mama can make you that soup. $10 for soup? We have lost our damn minds out here.
Not gonna lie, that's pathetic. Almost $10 for that. Was that 4 or 5 bites? That's pathetic. I don't care what I don't care what the inflation or what the economy. I mean, that's pathetic. That's just greed, bro. That's horrible. That's horrible. Do the comments on that. Let's see the comments. Mind you, their soup comes in frozen bags and just reheated. That food in that cup, and it's true, comes in a frozen bag. They just reheat it and sell it to you for almost $10. Yeah. Yeah.
You're telling me I paid for a half sandwich from Panera for $5.99 to go with my soup. $5.99 for this, for a half piece of bread and some cheese smacked in the middle. What the fuck is this? That's insane, Panera. That's absolutely diabolical. You're telling me
$5 for that little piece of bread and almost $10 for a little bowl of soup. That's $15 for one little piece of bread with cheese on it and a little cup of soup. That's insane. That's insane. Well, that's it for me, guys. I'm kind of getting hungry now. Anyways, I appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. Helps the algorithm. We're a small channel trying to get out there. And I will see you in the next one. All right? And if you can't wait, there will be popping up on the screen any minute now. That's what YouTube recommends. Check it out. Or I'll see you next time. All right, guys. Peace out. Later. Man, almost $60? There's no way I'd pay that just for soup and sandwich, man. There's no way.